Welcome to the Mindful Spark. My name's Dave, and in this video we'll be covering the meditation from week 5 of the Reclaim Your Past, Reset Your Future series. This week is called Change Your Past to Free Your Future, and it's where we learn to lean in a little bit to discomfort, to aspects of ourselves that we might have moved away from in the past, try to avoid. And we'll begin this meditation, as we do with all the other meditations, by moving the attention around the body to allow us to move out of the head and to get into the body, which makes it easier then to do the meditation aspect of this practice. So if you'd like to find a comfortable place, closing the eyes if that's comfortable for you, and beginning by aligning the body, slightly tucking the chin to straighten the back of the neck and allow the top of the head to move towards the ceiling or the sky. Softening the eyes, giving them permission to rest, maybe looking down at a 45-degree angle, slightly opening the mouth and placing the tongue on the roof of the mouth, gently softening the muscles at each side of the mouth and just giving the facial muscles permission to soften and relax. Moving down the shoulders, shoulder blades, allowing the chest to slightly sink so the ribs are kind of sitting on the belly. Moving down the pelvis, down to the upper legs, down through the calf and shins, down to the feet. Starting by noticing the feet on the ground. Noticing which parts of the feet are connected to the ground. And how that feels in this moment. Bringing the attention to the hands. Noticing any heat or pressure or tingling, any sensations at all. Now directing the entire focus to the little finger of the left hand. Now gently allowing spotlight of the awareness to move to the breath. Trusting the body to breathe naturally. Having the patience not to try and interfere. Strengthening the ability to observe what's happening without having to get involved. Without having to strive to change anything or making judgments. Just inhale and exhale. Maybe noticing as the attention is directed towards the breath, how often it slows and deepens. You may become aware of the belly holding tension or tightness. Just simply follow the breath into the body and notice how Maybe the belly wants to expand on the inhale and contract on the exhale. And keeping in mind that mindfulness is not the lack of thoughts, but it's the understanding that thoughts happen anyway. And that's okay, but it's learning to acknowledge and recognize when we've been pulled away by thoughts or emotions, bodily sensations, and having the strength of mind and the capacity to gently bring the awareness and attention back to the focus on the breath. The inhale and the exhale. And beginning to notice any parts of the body that pull at the attention. Maybe a sensation of discomfort or pain. Noticing how that often triggers a thought of, oh, I need to move, or I don't like this. There is a desire to label it as maybe a not pleasant or unpleasant experience. But rather than immediately moving to correct the body posture or to move away from the discomfort, simply notice, does that point of the body have a texture, a temperature? Maybe just probing and feeling around that point. Gently, with compassion, acknowledging that maybe tightness or contraction. Being witness to what's unfolding in the body right now. Often as people begin to meditate, they become aware of pains in the body, but these pains only occur during the meditation, and this is often a sign of trapped emotions, of tension or stress or tightness in the body that maybe we haven't been aware of until we sat quietly and observed the activity within the thoughts and the emotions and the bodily sensations. And at any time, if the sensations are seeming to be too strong or too difficult, you can always bring the attention back to the breath or focus out from that point, gathering up the capacity to maybe just be able to go back to the point. Sometimes it can be helpful to imagine that point in the body that's drawing your attention to spread as if it's expanding, 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 and covering your whole body. But in this meditation, it's more about having a willingness to observe and to stay with sensations, to stay with discomfort or senses of unpleasantness, and see how, as we observe, we can notice sometimes that thoughts, images, emotions are triggered. And as we can sit and bear witness to these events, that often they begin to change. They begin to morph and move. Maybe coming back to the breath for a little bit. Allowing the attention to focus on the inhale and the exhale. Knowing that this is a nurturing practice, a practice of learning to let go, to free often emotions from the past, events that have caused us stress, anxiety. And even if when we find those points and we're not sure why we feel this discomfort or unpleasantness, that's okay. Just being willing and giving the body permission to unburden itself of holding that trapped energy, that tension and stress. Giving the body permission to soften with a gentle curiosity, an openness to experience what's unfolding. And the strength and the courage to understand that we all have trapped emotions and anxiety and frustration in the body. Now maybe moving to the body again, away from the breath, and become aware of any other points that call to our attention. And again, with that gentle, open awareness of being curious. Does this point trigger an emotion or a thought? Does it link to any other points in the body? Does it feel, or the point is being compressed, tense? How does it feel, this point in the body? Is it hot or cold? Does it have a sense of a texture? Does it seem solid? It can be helpful to allow the point, if it does feel solid, to imagine that there's a golden light shining on that point and softening, making that solid point feel liquidy. And maybe as the temperature from the light heats it more and more, the liquid can turn to gas. And like steam from a kettle, the block can just float from the body. and dissipate, freeing you from the sensation and the blockage. And again, maybe returning to the breath, the inhale and the exhale. And knowing that it takes courage, it takes bravery to sit with what we've often spent a long time avoiding. Moving away from these points, and now we're learning to lean in just a little at a time, to understand the body a little bit better. And each time we do this practice, knowing that it frees the tension and the stress and the anxiety that little bit more. Allowing us to be less affected by past events that aren't helpful to our present and won't provide us well-being and happiness in our future. Knowing that we have the capacity now to understand more about thoughts and emotions and sensations, and know that we can choose to follow those thoughts, to be consumed by the emotions more and more. And if any time an emotion feels overwhelming, rather than sitting in pain, count from 5 back to 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this can be very helpful to create a space between the emotion, the fear, the discomfort. Allowing us to observe what's happening. And in a conscious way, choosing maybe to unfocus a little bit, gather ourselves and maybe focusing again. And the purpose of this exercise is not to suffer in any way. It's about being kind, compassionate, empathetic to ourselves. And knowing that we're freeing the body, the trapped emotions and thought patterns, opening ourselves to everything that the future has to offer, unburdened by the past. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Being thankful for this time. Congratulating yourself for spending this time with yourself. Learning to heal. Providing the opportunity for greater happiness. Again, maybe just checking in on the facial muscles and noticing any tension. Allow them to soften. Softening the shoulders, the arms, the elbows down through to the fingers. moving down from the collarbone to the shoulder blades, chest and ribs. Allowing anything you become aware of to be free, to dissipate like gas and float away from the body. Down into the belly. Pelvis down into the legs, through the knee, down to the calf and the shin, down to the feet.